Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Salonpreneur magazine, the podcast. And today we'll be talking about the autumn edition of Salonpreneur magazine. And we are going to be talking, as you can see, with Carl Hinder, one of our coaches who writes in the magazine. So welcome, Carl. And thank you for joining me again. We are going to be today talking about Carl's article, which is on page 89 in this quarter. We're talking about are salon, spa and clinic owners losing financial ambition? And it's a really interesting topic because we all think that we are so driven to have more money and our businesses are there for more money. And this kind of flips it on its head a little bit, doesn't it, Carl?
Well, that's why I kind of like put a sub caveat in, which is, or have they, you guys, the salon owners or business owners, no matter how big or small you are, just redefined what success is? Now, I'm the article. I'm certainly not in this discussion. Am I going to discuss with you what does success look like for you? Because it does look different for everyone else.
Indeed.
The reason I came up with the article too was because the overall concept here is I think that business owners who want other things from their business, sometimes it's just like, I feel successful because I'm really organized, or I have a lovely team, or I've got a great client database, right? Or I've got a really good group of clients. All of that does feed into, well, I've got a successful business.
Yeah.
The bit that I always talk about the finances, though, is to sustain those things, you've got to be, that pause was almost a little bit there, by the way. To sustain those things long term, you're going to have a financially sound business.
Yeah.
And also, they are not mutually exclusive. So, for example, if you're saying to yourself, oh, Carl, I'm not really worried about the money. I just want something that ticks along and is going well, and the staff are happy and the clients are happy. I'm happy with you as well, by the way. That's good. Let's have that. Yeah. We don't have to have one or the other.
No.
We can have both. We can have happy clients, happy staff, happy salon owners. Yeah, we can have low business stress, and we can have a ton of money in the bank, because I know a ton of money in the bank takes stress off other parts of your life.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's what the article's about. It's we all value things differently, and that's okay. But we don't have to have one without the other. We can have both.
No. And I think one of the things that you were saying in the article is that having financial ambition and wanting to have all that money in the bank isn't about greed. It's about having growth with purpose and about, giving yourself a future that's secure, isn't it?
Well, also, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things here, and this first part isn't in the article at all, but it is all to do with having a successful business that gives you enough money for you to have financial and time freedom. But sometimes we can be, quite philanthropic. We really want to help other people, don't we?
Yeah.
If you think about it, the reason we are brilliant in the hair and beauty industry is because as therapists, technicians, we just want to help other people. Now imagine if you're skint, right? And I've been skint in the past. I don't know if you've been skint in the past too, but
I have,
lots
definitely.
and I gotta be honest with you, it weren't much fun.
No.
But let's say you want to help other people. Let's say you want to help the local dogs home. Let's say you want to help the homeless. Let's say you want to help, I don't know, army veterans, whatever. If you've got some money, you can help them more than if you're skint.
Yeah.
I know you can, go and physically help them, and if you're doing that, I'm not actually criticizing that in any way. What I'm saying is, having a good, healthy financial business with all the things you want, plus a whole batch of money on top,
Yeah.
it makes life easier and better for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really that's not in the article, but that's really one of the things that we've got to focus on.
Yeah, because I think as well, isn't it? It's like, to be able to give back, to have enough money to be able to give back is a really lovely goal, isn't it, to have? and whether that's, like you say, whether it's like helping army veterans or whether it's helping like a local homeless centre or whatever, having the money available to be able to do that must be really nice. It's a good thing to be able to do, isn't it? And
Yeah, I mean,
even sponsoring your local football team. I know one of
you
my
beat me to
industry
it.
buddies, and she sponsors Thetford girls team.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant because she's in a position that she's able to do that, which also is a really good thing because it supports her daughter's team. But the brand awareness of her brand is fantastic. So it's like a double win.
Yeah, well, you just beat me to it. That was the next thing on my mind. You can do what you want, can't you? When you got a few bob,
Yeah.
your good nature, you can express it in different ways. And I certainly don't want everyone to think that we can't help other people when we haven't got money.
Yeah.
Just that, however we look at it, money makes the world go round, right?
It does indeed.
And it does concern me as businesses, not as individuals, that we aren't ambitious enough anymore about getting our hands on the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
Now,
know, it's funny actually, and I think, we know, and you very much so, because you've built a huge amount of your business on pricing. But I saw a really amazing meme yesterday that was, I can't, and I should have screenshot it because it's gone now, but it was along the lines of, you do need to pay me while I'm helping you make money for your business.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, and it was like some kind of business coaching consultancy kind of business that was putting it out. And I thought, do you know what? It's just so true. And whether, you look at that as a business coach or whether you look at that as like, your local nail tech who's charging £15 for a set of nails that she probably should be charging £40 for, they're still working for nothing while somebody else benefits. And I think that we need that. It just summed up so much, that meme. And I can't, I didn't save it.
No, that meme is really important because I was having this discussion this morning with an early morning client. It doesn't matter how much money you've got to spend on something. So they were talking about actually software, and they said, "Oh, the software is too expensive." So we worked out, really, it works out about one client a month to pay for this software. And if you get a return on that money, then it's not expensive. So how much is the magazine, Sue? If they
£12.99 for a single copy, Carl.
right,
That's all it is.
so imagine someone buys you guys go and buy this magazine, right? So it costs you 13 bucks, less than 13 quid, okay? A couple of cups of coffee, and you read it, and you read my article or someone else's article, and it inspires you to change something in your business.
Yeah.
Okay. You literally could change something in your business tomorrow that will give you multiple monies. So if you're doing, I don't know, a retail article and they tell you to go and use this method, and tomorrow you do £50 or £100 or £200, then nothing is expensive when we put it in investment terms.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we're so guilty in this industry of not valuing our services and therefore not charging effectively. And just in that thing, if you put 50p on every treatment that you do in a month, if you're doing 50 treatments, that's like another, brain's gone, £25. Is that 20? Yeah. I was like, why did I say maths things then? But if that's just from 50p, you start adding that up and you actually charge properly. You might find, if I was saying, that nail tech who's charging £15, and I know local to me, I do have people that charge like that still. And if they just even if they just charge £20, the upscale in the revenue that they'd have coming through their door that would enable them to have a better life. You've got people, they've got to understand that people should not, their potential clients, if they're looking for £15 services, they're looking for the wrong clients.
Yeah. Joe, I saw a brilliant, we're always looking for terminology, aren't we? But meme again, in the last 24 hours. It was a comedy sketch. And it's an American woman who's, I think, Asian, but is also doing an impression of a Chinese nail bar.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And it's a comedy.
There's a lot of oxymorons in there. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is very, very funny. But the bit that's relevant to us is the basically the nail tech, we'll call them that. The nail tech says that you need my service, okay? And why? And she says, "Oh, why are you having nails?" She said, "Oh, because Oh no, have you got a boyfriend? She says, no. Well, it's because of your nails, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not very good. And then she goes on to say, are you having glitter with this? And she says, oh, not really. She, that's why you haven't got a boyfriend. She says, okay, that'll be $4 more, she says. And then she says something else. She said, well, that'll be $6 more. You know,
Yeah.
and that's, while it's a very funny sketch, and I might drop it on my group, it's true. We've got to focus on helping the client. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all the nail bar was doing, was helping the client and then charging more for the service, right?
This is it. And McDonald's have done it very successfully for a
Ah,
really long time, haven't they? Would you like that large? Would you like onion ring? Would you
brilliantly.
like chicken nug? And it's all of those little, like, little micro upsells, isn't
Well,
it?
do you
That
know,
bring
well,
you
do you
more.
know, the other day, right, I went to McDonald's and it was all automated,
Oh,
right?
it's horrible.
And the first
Don't
thing I
do that.
thought was, oh my God, how much money must they be losing because they can't ask you anymore if you want fries with that,
Yeah.
right? And the food was not of my liking, and someone at my table had to eat most of mine, right? But don't worry about that. When I got to the screen with someone, it locked me bloody in, right? I said I'd have a large fries, right? But when I got to the drinks, I it locked me in. I wasn't allowed a small one, right?
Oh,
I had to, because I'd said large deal. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they've got over the problem of asking you directly, do you want fries by that, by getting you on a software system that once you make a decision that you want to they lock you in all the way through.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Well, no,
Um,
but it's a very good technique, isn't it? And it's
oh, isn't it? Isn't it?
very clever, and it means that you get a bigger spend.
Yeah. I want to. Do you mind if I backtrack on something
No,
here?
go for it, Carl.
It was only because we were talking about how we can. And this is really contentious. But I think when people sleep on this, they might feel differently about what I'm about to say. Don't panic.
Okay.
Don't panic, so you're not going to
You're
get
going to suddenly get inundated with
you're
people
not going to
going,
get
what?
you're getting banned or get the regulators involved.
You're
It's
going
not
to get
that contentious.
cancelled.
Um, and when we were talking about if you got more money, you can help more people. All
Hmm.
right. Now, do you know some of the people we forget about most is our partners?
Hmm.
All right. Now, across the industry, and I work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of salons, spas, and clinics, so I feel qualified to say this. In the vast majority of those cases, there's a partner, not a business partner, a
Hmm.
life partner involved who, in some way, is subsidizing your business.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
massively.
Whether it's directly, like I had one organization where the husband had a roofing company and he paid a lot of the bills for the hair and beauty company. All right. Maybe it's that. Or maybe if you're very small, if you're a solopreneur, maybe you're a mobile therapist, technician, and you're going out and your wife or your husband says to you, oh, here's 20 quid for the petrol, or take my business card,
Yeah,
right? Or take my personal cards, fill the car up on the way there, or don't worry, I'll do the service in the weekend. Or you got a salon and your husband is coming to build you a reception the weekend, okay, and spending 2 or 3 days. These are
yeah,
all things that are subsidizing your business.
yeah,
So when you are saying to yourself, oh no, I'm not worried about the money, I just want to have a nice life and I want the staff to be happy and my customers to be all jolly and friendly, that's great, but somebody somewhere is paying more price than they need to. And
yeah.
I don't mean the money price. I mean your partner is probably paying the price. Now, even if they're not, giving you the card to fill up the car, or they're not building you a desk or something like that, they could be, and I do have a wife who could probably qualify this. If things aren't going great, they pay an emotional price. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they got to put up with you a miserable face, okay, on the sofa, on the sofa at
But
the end
it's
of the
so
night.
true. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Or your moods, or they got to sort out your bank balance, or your stress, because of course they love you. So I do think you have more of a responsibility to be more financially
yeah,
ambitious. I think you're very selfish. This is the contentious part. You're very selfish if you think it's okay to have a business which is lovely and fluffy, and the staff are really happy, but they don't make me any money, and I'm happy because there's not too much stress. But there's someone else close to you who's having to pay either a financial or an emotional price and an unnecessary contribution.
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote an article years ago. Maybe I ought to redraft it because it was a good few years ago, and it was about that kind of yeah, the having your support network and how that works. And it's very, very true. And you saying, you know, like when I started my salon, I was working from a cabin in my garden at the time, and we knew that I had the opportunity. I had the skills and the opportunity. I had the skills, didn't have the opportunity to have a space that was not at my home. And we'd been kind of looking for a little while. And in the end, yeah, one of those miraculous sliding door moment things happened, and I ended up seeing this property. But it was I mean, it wasn't derelict by any means, but it had not been well maintained. Let's say that. And I'm very fortunate. My husband is in the building trade. And he happened to have a really big tax rebate that year.
There we are.
But without that, I would
Yeah.
never have got off the ground.
Yeah.
And it still gets held over me. It's like, you know.
Well, I'm not saying that.
It's like without me, and it's like, but I know, you know, and even now he's doing my office. We're having a new office put in for me at home, and he's doing that. So he's doing all the refit and everything in there because that's what he does. But then you know, like I was just saying to you just now, I've just been sitting doing all of his Google business profile and sorting out his website.
So you are not taking it for granted, and that's what I'm saying. Is you're not taking it for granted, and I'm also not saying, you know, your partner shouldn't be helping you. Absolutely, that's why you're partners. But we shouldn't be taking them for granted by saying, I got this lovely fluffy business that satisfies everything I want. 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, or whatever it is, Tuesday to Saturday, which is what the core of the industry seems to want to do. If you've got a partner who's having to take on some kind of burden, that's, to me, too selfish, and you should be less selfish in that respect and generate some income so that you can share the wealth and make everyone happier. I mean, that thing about sharing the wealth as well. You know, I'm actually doing a session tonight with all my groups actually on why you lose customers and how to stop it. Do you know, we often think that keeping our prices down nice and low keeps our clients. But if you think about it logically, if you've got the correct price, I'm not saying high price, I'm saying the correct price for your business because it's different for everyone. Everyone gets to win. Because if your clients are leaving because you won't put the heating on until 10 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
right? And don't, you know, there are people out there doing this.
oh, absolutely.
Right? Or there's some places I've even heard, and lots of people are going to be saying, no, that's not true, Carl, won't let you charge your phone, right? In their business because it's a cost to them. They say, oh, I'd rather you didn't, okay? Or they put signs up. So if you're not financially established as a business, again, the client isn't benefiting. So if you charge them the right level, they can have more lighting, they can have more heating, they can have better quality products. Your staff will get paid better, which makes your clients even happier, which makes your staff even happier, which should make you even happier.
Yeah.
What I'm just going to keep repeating it throughout this discussion. You can have both.
Yeah. It is, and I think as well though, like you're saying, and I find it. Well, no, I don't find it shocking. I understand why people need to limit their heating and need to limit their power usage and so on. But it just makes me think, you know, I mean, I was at Stansted Airport, went up to see my daughter recently, and I got to the airport and I'd been sat doing stuff on my phone. By the time I got there, my phone needed charging. And I know I am not in a minority in an airport. And they now, it's no wonder the world duty free's got so big, but they have to fund all of us plugging in when we get to the airport. And on the way back, it wasn't such a problem. But on the way there, I'd exhausted my phone and I needed to charge. So I sat in the airport for probably a couple of hours with my phone on charge. And we need to see that, you know, whatever airport or train station that you go to, that is now, or coffee shop, whatever coffee shop you go to, that is now part of their cost per service.
Yeah, of course it is.
And we have to recognise that even as a salon business, our clients are going to want to charge on their phone. Not all obviously not all the time, and it might only be they need to do it for 10 minutes just to give them a boost. But you can't discount that now from your cost per service.
I mean, look, your clients are your guests.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Sue, when you come to my house,
Yeah.
right? And I say, what coffee do you want? You're going to get whatever you want. You're going to get the absolute best, right? Because you're a guest. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to turn the eating off because I'm a bit skint. You're going to get the best. And we need to do this with our clients. Now, I know we do, which is why we keep our prices low and we don't pay ourselves as therapists and technicians and hairdressers sometimes. I know we have that mechanism, but we have it at a low level. We try to control it by cutting costs.
Mm.
What we don't try and do is control it by maximizing sales and profitability.
Yeah.
So it's just a different perspective. It's like lots of people, the majority of people in the world, in fact, but let's just say the UK for the time being, try to live within their means. And we actually brought up saying that. Yeah, it's the kind of thing my gran would have said to me, and my mother when I was small or a teenager, not to kind of live within your means, but cut the cloth to measure. That's what my nan used to say.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that's fine. That's not bad advice. But I'd say, well, let's get a bigger cloth, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allow
That's what
room for expansion, allow room for that big dinner you're going to eat.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? Let's get a bigger cloth.
Yeah.
So
Too
yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay. There's another area. Do you mind if I
No, go on.
ask
We'll
you
do
about this?
one more, Carl.
Oh, okay. Well, you can always cut this off if you want to.
Yeah,
And
that's fine.
you can add from me. Or is there something you want to focus on?
No, because this is your opportunity to expand on your answer.
Okay. So I think the last part of this really for people to get their minds around, and you're going to like this, and we could do an whole article on this, by the way, is our understanding and modern concept of work-life balance.
Mm.
All right. I think that's standing in the way of people making money, financial gain, and profitability, because we are being fed through social media, through the press, and from each other. You are each other's worst enemies, by the way, guys, in the industry. We think that work-life balance is all about exact numbers of hours per day and per week that we share amongst the things that are important.
Yeah.
That's how it is now painted and perceived. We talk about people only doing 4-day shifts, yeah, but we also talk about working 9 till 5 and then doing social activities afterwards. So we do 8 hours work followed by 8 hours of family, 8 hours of family and Netflix and sports or whatever it is, followed by 8 hours of sleep. And we think that is the work-life balance. That's getting in the way, because the way we accumulate finances, and you do it all the time. I know you well enough. Sometimes the balance is I'm working for a month without a day off.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm taking 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Right? And in that month while I'm working my socks off, other people in my vicinity, my family in particular, have to make sacrifices as well. And then they get rewarded for their sacrifices by a 2-week holiday or a 3-week holiday or a new car or a new extension. So I think we need to realign our understanding of work-life balance so that we don't feel guilty about going out and kicking ass in business for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 6 years, and not having to worry about the pressure on a daily, weekly basis that it's not balancing.
Yeah. I think, do you know, and it's funny, as you were saying, and before you got to saying the 888, I've just been watching something on Netflix that was a historic thing. I'm just trying to think what it was on. Anyway, it was a program where there was a debate, and it was going back into Victorian times of the workforce going, actually, we don't want to work 12 hours a day every day, because back then they would have been working 6 days a week, only rest on a Sunday, 12 hours a day. And there was this whole movement to get to the 888. And it goes back that far, that we have been looking to have this perfect existence of 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, and 8 hours of activity in whatever format, and then 8 hours of sleep. And I think that it's an ideal, but I do think every person is different, aren't they? And I know, I will have periods where I work really, really hard. And then, like I was saying to you earlier, I've just taken a week out because I'd burnt myself out and done too much and had too much going on in my head, and I needed to rest it. And I think that we don't want to hit burnout necessarily, but we have to work out what is our own personal balance. And that may be that you do the 888 thing, but it may be that you do 12 12 12, and then just rest.
What I'm saying, all I'm saying is don't restrict yourself by someone else's theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you start a new business and you need to work for 6 months non-stop, go and do that's what you got to do. If that's what that's what I've done and that's what I did. If you and look, AI is about to become a major factor in our lives where we'll have less physical work to do. So that balance will change again. What I mean is, don't be obligated by someone else's theory
Mm.
that is stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm not having to go to anyone individually who wants to do 888 if that's what you want to do, but you can't do 888 and then say I got no money, right?
No,
Or I do 888 and I hate spending time with my family because right? Don't
they've all got the hump with me.
yeah, because they see me too much, right? We need
Yeah.
some space,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely.
I have an amazing family and we have amazing quality time, but I don't think I would want to sit around watching Netflix for 8 hours, okay,
No.
or every day. But anyway, look, guys, listen, have your own balance. Don't be restricted by other people's views on work-life balance. Have the freedom to gain more finance and use that finance to be as an enabler in your life, to
Mm.
enable your life and your family to benefit and everyone within your business. So kind of as a summary, have it all, guys. Have both.
Have it all. And but I think as well, though, isn't it? I think it is a case of, like, you've got to have a strategy to work out what's going to get you to the goal. And if that means you've got to work intensely, you do, obviously you do need to sleep and you do need to rest, because that's important, because without that we can't function. But sometimes you do, there's always, when you're striving for a goal, there has to be sacrifice. This morning I had to go out for a run because I've decided I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I've recommitted to my 10K plan, and so this morning I had to sacrifice sitting in my house and make myself go out and run 3K.
Yeah.
And it took my time, it took energy, and it took a lot of mindset to make me get out there this morning. But I know that the benefits of that are going to come back, and it means I am going to hit my 10K with my running, which I've been trying to do for the last year.
That's it.
And not
Well
getting
done.
there. But
Congratulations.
so it is, but so I'm reconnecting with that goal, and now I've got my strategy back in place, and it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But I could make the option to not do it, but I know I need to do it.
That's easy. Easy to not do things.
Oh, it's very easy. I had the whole of last week not doing anything, and it was, although I still felt guilt for not doing anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, once I go past about half a day of not doing anything, I'm like, oh my God.
yeah,
I always think of not doing it. And I'm not professing this. When I'm not doing anything, I don't feel as if I'm progressing. And progression in any part of my life is the thing I get more satisfaction from. Whether it's my children progressing in their education, or my wife progressing in her career, or myself progressing in my coaching or my health. That's what I get all of my satisfaction from. I don't get any satisfaction from sitting down doing nothing.
No. And I think that's the key, isn't it? Is that we've got to work out what our strategy is to get the best life around us that we possibly can.
Yeah.
And only go by our own reflections, really, isn't it? Of what makes us work, what makes us, like, what makes our boat float.
Yeah. But I just want to keep going back. It's a very kind of entrepreneurial thing to say. Everyone who's watching this, no matter how big or small your business, you deserve more.
Yeah.
And you deserve more. And that's whatever it is you want more of. But on the financial side, you also deserve more of that. And that is going to enable you to have much more freedom.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, Carl.
Thank
and
you.
Don't forget, pick up your Salonpreneur at a website called salonpreneurmagazine.co.uk that's near you, at the end of your fingers. And I'll speak to you on the next quarter.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue.